There is a big conversation in the language learning world to whether we should study grammar or whether we shouldn't study grammar. As we all know from our days in school, grammar was one of the best ways to be tested in exams, as well as vocab tests. Grammar was a very boring, but almost the first and main way schools would teach languages in school. However, when teaching yourself a language and when learning a language naturally, grammar isn't something that's focused on, it's actually something that's more recommended to be ignored. And this is something that I want to talk about in this video. Should we study grammar or not? My first answer is no, and especially if you're a beginner. The first thing you do when you start learning a new language should not be looking up conjugations, looking up different ways of saying this word order. It should not be grammar based. It should be verbs, new words, adjectives, and words that are going to be, and sayings that are going to be useful for you in the beginning, not grammar. Ignore grammar in the beginning, trust me. The reason for this is that if you start learning grammar in the beginning as a way to test yourself and stuff like this, you're not going to have enough understanding of the language to actually use the grammar for a start. And second of all, it's going to be a lot more complicated than if you just learn like a bit of the basics of words and stuff like that in the beginning and then came to the grammar after. So in the beginning, no, definitely do not study grammar. It's not worth it. It'll be demotivating, it'll be boring. Just go for words and try and cram as much words and just listen to the language and read the language and just immerse yourself and learn verbs, words and sayings as much as you can before hitting any grammar. So you've done that, you've listened to the advice, you've started off like that, and you haven't touched any grammar or any grammar rules at all in the beginning of studying your language. But now there's some things that you want to clear up. Some things that aren't too clear and they are related to grammar. So it's easy to take an extremist mindset and go, okay, people say do not study grammar, I'm not studying grammar at all throughout my whole language learning journey. And that's not really what you should do, because grammar can be important for clearing things up and can be really important to your conversation and understanding, especially conjugations in Spanish or Italian or any language that has conjugations. So pretty much all of them do. It's a huge difference to understand whether I'm speaking, whether the other person is speaking about me or themselves or someone else or as a plural. Conjugations can be really important as to understanding and communicating. So grammar definitely does clear things up. So taking an extremist view of, right, I'm not going to learn any grammar, I'm just going to go fully in without studying any grammar can work, but I think it's more efficient if you study grammar in times of curiosity. And this is something I talk about in my ebook, which you can buy in the description below. So what do I mean by studying times of curiosity? So I've been studying Italian for 2 to 3 months now. By the time this video comes out, it would have been for longer, and my 3-month Italian video would already be out, as I'm sure you know. You can watch it if you go and look at the channel, watch it after this one. So what do I mean by studying grammar in times of curiosity? For me, I'm doing this with Italian, so I've been studying Italian for 2 to 3 months, although longer now. By the time this video comes out, you can watch my 3-month Italian progress video after watching this one. Recently, I've been interested in learning about the congiuntivo and preposizioni articolate for clearing some things up when I'm speaking. I feel I can understand really well, but speaking, these are things that are holding me back and things I don't really understand. So dipping my toe into a bit of this Italian grammar, learning about these 2 different grammar topics has really boosted my speaking when it comes to Italian, and even the listening and reading, because I'm understanding these a lot more quicker rather than okay, I get the context, but I don't really get the grammar. Now I'm understanding the grammar and the context because I know enough words and the grammar. Also studying grammar at this later time when I'm 2 to 3 months in has helped, because I already have a decent base of words and a good amount of listening practice, and my listening skills are getting better, my speaking skills are getting better. So learning the grammar and studying a bit of the grammar when it comes to this point, when I'm a bit more skilled in the language, has helped out, because I naturally have a better understanding of the grammar, because I naturally have a better understanding of the language, rather than going straight from the start when I have no clue what's going on and I'm then trying to understand the grammar. I mean, that's, when you think about that, it's so difficult to do that, and it's hard to comprehend why schools and even people who teach themselves, sometimes they teach themselves in that way. So there you are. That's what I mean by times of curiosity. When you feel like it's holding you back and you want to go for it. Now, how would you go about learning it or studying the grammar? What I've done with my with the Italian grammar topics I'm studying right now is I've pinned them up onto my wall. I pin 2 tables up onto my wall, and every time I walk in there, I kind of just do a little test to myself. I go, okay, I can't even think of it myself right now. And so every time I go in there, I kind of just do a little quick test to myself. I look at it, I redraw my memory, and doing that constantly throughout the day, the amount of times I walk in and out of my room, I think to myself, okay, well, you know, I'm constantly looking at the grammar, and over time it will come in. I'm not actively trying to memorize it. I kind of just let it in. I'm almost acquire languages. Another way you can test yourself, which I spoke about in the ebook, is that you can do an Excel spreadsheet, which you can make yourself. You create your own conjugation tables, and then you try and replicate those conjugation tables by typing. Although that is a bit more of a formal way of testing, and some people may see that as boring, and I see that, but for me, as much as I do, it's not the most fun thing to do in the world. It is a very effective way, so that can be another way to learn the grammar. My answer to should we study grammar is no, definitely not at the beginning. And should we study it all? Not really. In times of curiosity, we look at it, we understand it, and then we go again. And then when we get in times of curiosity again, maybe it's the same grammar topic, maybe it's a different one, we look at it, and over time, it will become more understood. Rather than really trying to test yourself. Now, there are ways of learning it by testing yourself on Excel, as I said, and that can help if you're really stuck. But as I said, that can be demotivating, that can be boring. So the best way is to just check up on it. Once you don't know a bit of grammar, or you want to refresh on a bit of grammar, or you're just curious, just have a little look. Have a little look at the reversal conjugator online, and just jog your memory and think, oh yeah, that's right. Or think to yourself, oh okay, that's how that conjugation works. And then as you keep doing that, it will become more natural. And as you see in books and films, it's almost having that skill of noticing how they use the grammar. And over time, it will be acquired naturally. So that's the way I do it, and that's the way that's worked for me. Also, I want to say is that when you're speaking a language and you try to hit that conversational fluent level, you're always going to make grammar mistakes, you're going to make pronunciation mistakes, but especially you're going to make grammar mistakes. Is that the end of the world? No, it's not. As long as the other person can understand what you're saying, grammar mistakes are not the end of the world. Grammar is important, as I've said. It's a principle of language learning. But getting it perfect is not necessary. I mean, in English, I don't even speak perfect grammar. In your native language, you don't even speak with perfect grammar. So that just shows it right there. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that clears some things up, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. How about English for once? Goodbye.